Well, she is a wet one today. So we're meant to get about 80 mils worth of rain today and another 80 mils tomorrow. So it's meant to be a very wet weekend. But I come out to this really beautiful bushland just to spend the overnight. Thought I'd try and brave the rain for the weekend and see how I go. I got the tarp in the bag, so hopefully we can find a nice little place to set up, camp with the tarp. But there are a lot of rocks around here, so I'm really hoping we might come across a nice little rocky overhang or a little camping cave, which would be definitely a nice way to spend the evening, because like I said, it's meant to be absolutely bucketing down tonight. So we'll see how we go though. But we do have a bit of a break in the rain now, so let's try and take advantage of that and try and find a camp pretty soon. So all we got here is a scribbly gum or Eucalyptus hemistoma. You see it gets its name by all these little scribbles that are left behind by an insect that gets underneath the bark and then makes its way up and then exits, and it leaves behind all these little scribbles, which is pretty cool. Man, that is pretty incredible that a tree with this much damage to the bark can still be living. This goes to show these trees are very tough. Kind of looks like a dinosaur was attacking the base of the tree with its claws. Looks pretty cool. I've just stumbled across this pretty cool little overhang. It's got a flat floor, which is good, but it's not the biggest overhang. Probably doesn't give me a whole lot of protection, just considering how wet it's meant to be tonight. Probably want something a little bit bigger if I can find it, but it's always a good backup if I can't find anything else. How cool is that? Got a cabbage tree palm growing out of the fork of an angophora. That is very cool. Well, I think we have a winner. That is a very cool cave. Yeah, so it's got a nice big overhang, so it should give us a lot of protection from the rain. And it's also got a nice flat sandy floor, so I can easily roll out the bivvy on that and have a good night's sleep. So yeah, pretty nice cave. Man, I'm so stoked with this, eh? This is a really nice find. And it's going to keep me nice and dry for tonight, which is good. It's got a really nice feel to it. It's quite a subtropical feel with all the cabbage tree palms out the front. Yeah, very cool. It's what I love bushwalking in this sandstone country, is you never know what you're going to find, eh? Just around every corner, you just come across these little gems like this, which is, yeah, very cool. And how cool is this? This tree is growing through a hole in the roof of the cave. It's so cool. So I'm just on top of the rock overhang, and this is the hole that's in the roof of it with the tree coming through it. You've also got this bird's nest fern just down there as well, which is really cool. So I'm just having a look around up here, and man, there are so many useful plants and bush tucker plants. Like for example, over here we've got what looks to be a lily pilly. Unfortunately it's not in fruit, but when it is, it does have these really tasty edible fruit that grow on it. It kind of tastes a bit like an apple. Also over here we've got a 5-leaf native grape, but unfortunately that's not in fruit, but you can see this vine is just all over this tree and it's absolutely everywhere around here. So when it is, there'll be a ton of fruit on this. Over here we've got a fig tree which also produces edible fruit. You've got a cabbage tree palm which you can use the leaves for thatching for natural shelters. You can also eat the growing heart of the palm, which is sort of the top section where all the fronds come out of. That's actually edible. In the distance there you can see another what looks to be a lily pilly. You've got a wattle here which has a ton of uses. You've got a saw hedge down here. You've got grass trees, xantharias up there, which are very useful. You can use the flower spikes to create biofiber friction. You can also use the resin from the plant to create glue. So yeah, honestly, just in this one area, there is dozens of very useful plants. Now I know I've said this before, but yeah, if you guys want to sort of build that connection to the country and to the landscape and just look at the bush in a whole different light, I cannot stress enough how beneficial it is to get into learning about bush tucker and your sort of local native plants and their uses. Before I started getting into bush tucker, I'd come out to a place like this and look around and go, oh yeah, it's a nice pretty view, but sort of not realizing what's in front of me. And now I come to a place like this and just look around and just see all the plants and their uses. And I'm only just starting to scrape the surface as well. Like I've only got such a limited knowledge. I can only imagine what Aboriginal mobs, like what their knowledge they must have and the connection they must have to the landscape. It must run so deep, and this place is a bloody supermarket. Like they would know every single thing about every single plant. It must have been a very special thing. And it also just makes you want to protect these places as well. Like once you know that these plants aren't just a bunch of trees, that they've actually got uses to them and they're useful to you, it really makes you want to protect them and conserve them for generations to come. So definitely recommend getting into it. I'll put up on the screen some screenshots of the books that I use for Southeast Australia. But just have a look around your local area and see if there's any books that are relevant to you, or look on the webs, like on the internet, and see if there's any blog posts or anything like that that might talk about native plants and their uses, because I definitely recommend it's a worthwhile thing to get into. Alright, so this fibrous stuff that's growing out of the heart of the cabbage palm, this stuff is really good tinder, so we'll use some of this to create a little bird's nest to get the fire going. You just got to be careful when you are pulling it though, because all these leaves here, they have all these little teeth on them, really sharp, so you got to be careful when you're trying to pick it, because it's so easy to cut yourself. Yeah, so just around here we've got all these grass trees, or xantharias, and this is a flower spike that they shoot up out the centre of the plant. Usually after bushfire they'll flower and then they'll eventually dry out and they'll usually break off, and you tend to find them lying around the base of the grass trees. But yeah, this is the best bit of timber you can get in Australia for friction fire. And also this top section of the plant, so when that's growing on the tree, that'll turn to flower with these tiny little white flowers, and they're full of nectar. So you just got to run your finger up the white flowers and it'll just be dripping in nectar, and it's really tasty. And after that, it turns to seed, and you have all these seeds up it, and I believe they're edible as well. Yeah, pretty handy plant to know. Also, the trunk of the grass trees have a resin in the trunk, and so you can get that and make like a bush glue out of it. And then also, indigenous mobs will use these as spears. Yeah, pretty handy plant. Alright, so I'm just going to sleep in the Quinthia XP2 bivvy. And inside that I'll put the Nemo Tensor insulator mat with the Alton -5 quilt, and then just a little cedar summit pillow, and then an Alton ground sheet underneath it as well. here comes the rain. Well, that rain's starting to get pretty heavy now. I think it's about time we get dinner on. So tonight we're going to cook up a pizza. I'm going to use this Turkish bread. I'm going to cut this in half and use that as the pizza base. I've never done this before, so we'll see how it goes. And we just got some tomato paste, got a red onion, which I'll add some balsamic vinegar to, got some mushrooms, some prosciutto, some cheese, and also some goat cheese as well. So it should be pretty tasty. Hopefully we don't burn it. Right, now if I was to put the pizza right on the pan, I feel like it's going to burn the bottom. So what I'm going to do is just put a few rocks in, and that way it can lift the pizza off the bottom. Well, this might actually work. I'm hopeful. I really don't want this to burn, eh? It looks so good. I'm so keen for it. Now what I'm going to do to create like a little oven, I'm just going to put some foil over it. Right, we'll leave that for, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes or so. Let's see how it goes. Right, I think it's probably about done. And I'm pretty happy with that, eh? It's not too bad for my first attempt. Yeah, it's not burnt for once. Who would have thought? That is epic. That is so good. Definitely not roughing it, that's for sure. That is delicious. That is delicious. Man, it is really starting to come down now. It's absolutely pouring. Well, we've got a little waterfall behind me, which isn't the greatest. I've just dug out the sand just there, so hopefully it just pulls in that and seeps into the ground, because otherwise it's going to run straight into the bivvy, so hopefully that does the job. Well, what a wet one to wake up to this morning. It has not stopped raining since last night, and this morning it has been absolutely bucketing down. It's actually been really nice though, just laying in the bivvy, just looking out over the bush in the rain. It's been a nice way to wake up. So I got myself a new toy recently. I got one of these Firebox Nanos, which I haven't used yet, so yeah, keen to see how it goes. Yeah, so it's pretty nice compact size. Just fold it open. Yeah, good to go. So it's got two little openings just there on each side, so that way you can feed sticks through it to get the fire going. So I've just got one of these little makeup pads that dips in lighter fluid and then coated in wax. So I just use this as a bit of a fire starter. So in here I've just got some marinated feta. And just in here I've just got some balsamic glaze. It is pissing down. Oh man, that breakfast was so bloody delicious, eh? That was really tasty. I hardly ever cook bacon. I don't know why, but it's so nice. I'm gonna cook that breakfast all the time, eh? So simple and quick. But man, this rain is absolutely relentless, eh? It is pouring, and to be honest, this camping cave isn't exactly the best one. It's just leaking everywhere. There's a big crack up there, and so the water's dripping down from the outside along this crack and then just coming down this rock face, and then right where the bivvy is. So this whole area is just wet. And you've obviously got that big hole in the cave, the roof there, so over there is absolutely soaked. And yeah, it's not exactly the most comfortable camping cave. It's a cool one, but in a downpour you get a little bit wet. But to be honest, I'd much rather be camping under this than underneath the tarp. So at least it's done me pretty well for one night at least. But I think it's about time we probably start packing camp up. And the verdict on the Firebox Nano stove, thumbs up. Well, I'm glad I have the bivvy for this trip, because I was just sleeping right on the ground. It would have been pretty wet. Always got to check inside your hat just to make sure any spiders haven't caught in there through the night. Can't tell you how many times that's happened to me before, eh? Alright, well, she's all packed up, and I just cleaned up the fire pit just to leave no trace. Now it's time to brave the rain and walk on out of here. It is slippery. Man, she is wet. I am so soaked. I feel like a drowned rat, but anyway, I think it's about time we pull the pin on the video. And yeah, I just want to say a big thanks to all you guys watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this little cave camp in the heavy rain. It was yeah, quite an interesting trip. I actually had a lot of fun. Really beautiful bushland to come and spend the night in, and the rain just makes it that much more interesting. So anyway, I want to say a big thanks to all you guys watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hooroo.